I rise today to adjourn in memory of Justice Betty Dawson, someone in my community who served as a pioneer for women practicing law. She was also a devoted wife, mother, grandmother, and served as an incredible leader in my district. Justice Dawson was born in Minnesota, but grew up in Santa Rosa when her parents knew there were more economic opportunities in California. It's important to note that Justice Dawson's academic journey wasn't a traditional path, which I learned she attributed her journey to her parents not having attending college. So it wasn't until years later, after completing high school, that she began attending the City College of San Francisco. Shortly after, she would travel to Mexico, where she would meet her future husband, Robert Hayden, who was working towards a master's in Latin American history at the time. They would end up traveling throughout South America together after their studies during a time in her life where she would simply describe as wonderful. Once they both returned to the States, she decided to go back to college and complete her bachelor's degree after her husband, Robert, playfully dared her to return and finish her degree, and then attend law school. Betty took that as a challenge and would go to accomplish both, becoming the first woman in her family to get a bachelor's degree. Betty first attended the Universidad de las Américas in Puebla, Mexico on a Spanish scholarship. She then graduated from San Francisco State in 1975 at the age of 27, and then attended Hastings College of Law from 1975 to 1978. She remained a very modest woman for her entire life and would often say she was not a good student and struggled with law school. She graduated second in her class out of over 500 students at Hastings. She was a member of the Law Review and a recipient of the prestigious Order of the Coif, an American Honor Society for law school graduates. Immediately following law school, Betty taught legal research and writing at Stanford Law School, and then became a research attorney for Joseph Groden at the First District Court of Appeals. Betty and Robert moved from San Francisco to Merced in 1980, where their daughters Emily and Margaret were born. Betty specialized in criminal law, including death penalty appeals during her practice, and did this while helping raise her children and serving as an important member of the Merced community. In 1990, she decided to become a judge. She was first appointed traffic referee, then court commissioner. Justice Dawson would soon make history by serving as Merced County's first female Superior Court presiding judge when she was appointed by Governor Gray Davis in the year 2000. She became the court's presiding judge in 2002 and would soon be confirmed to the 5th District Court of Appeals in September of 2003. Betty would serve there until 2010. It is important to stress that Justice Dawson was revered by justices and attorneys alike throughout her career. She had an incredible, strong mind. She was sharp. She worked hard. She was someone who was completely dedicated to her craft, her field, and the love for the rule of law. Amid receiving praise and recognition throughout her career by her colleagues, she too loved and admired her justice colleagues, and would go on to thank many mentors and mentees alike, which she collected throughout her illustrious career as an attorney and judge. Betty broke ceilings in Merced County and paved the way for many women who entered the legal field. She was a trailblazer. She was also an avid traveler and a passionate gardener in her free time. She could often be found taking cuttings from the gardens of others, only sometimes with permission. Betty loved the outdoors so much, at one point in her life, she said she could have presided over the courtroom outside if she could. Well, what I learned, that in fact she did once. When the AC had gone out in the courtroom, it was actually cooler outside than inside. Betty took it upon herself to hold court outside. Betty also loved to dance. And so we were sad to hear that Betty died last November 17th of 2024. She was survived by her husband of 51 years, Robert, her daughter Emily, Emily's husband Oscar, Sandoval, and her granddaughter, Delilah, as well as her daughter, Margaret's husband, Greg Stalfa, and her granddaughters, June and Cecilia. Today, we're all joined by all of them, who I extend my deepest condolences. It's never easy to lose a mom or a life partner. I am sad that I never had the personal pleasure of meeting Justice Dawson, but I had the privilege of building a great friendship with her husband, Robert, and her daughter, Emily. And I, through them, can see a piece of Betty's legacy in each of them. So today, while I adjourn in her memory, I know that her light and her joy will continue to shine, not just through Robert and Emily, who I've known much more closely, but through the entire family and even her granddaughters who I got to meet today. And so what I say to you all, again, my deepest condolences. And today, members, if you could help me adjourn in her memory, but also in the great legacy she has left in my district in Merced County. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.